Back, everybody, to the Weiner Wellness Week, sponsored by the World of Wellness and Nutritional Frontiers. With us this morning is Jeff Niznik, applied kinesiologist, and he's going to be talking about the allergy reversal technique. This is real talk, energy talk, right, Jeff?
That's right. It's all about energy.
All right. Jeff, I'm going to step aside and just let you take it away.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us today. My talk today is on energy talk. It's about using your body's energy to communicate, doing allergy reversal techniques on top of that too. Am I up right now? Is the screen up? Okay, we got you. Okay. So a little bit about me, folks, before we get into this. I went to Center High School. I went to study engineering, but for the last 29 years or so, I've been working in the natural health field, trying to help myself initially overcome all the health challenges that I had, which I've done, I think, a pretty stellar job at that. But now I use this with people to come here at the Weiner Wellness Center to help them heal themselves. On the radio, you can listen to my radio show Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. and Friday afternoons at 5 p.m. You can listen to me on these different radio stations here. You can stream it live on khbradio.com down here. All right. My contact info, if you'd like to set an appointment with me, 412-922-9355. Work here at the Weiner Wellness Center. We're in Green Tree, not far from downtown Pittsburgh and so forth. A little bit of an FDA disclaimer. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't treat, cure, prevent any disease. If you have issues, you're advised to go see your doctor for that. Should you have any medical condition, go see your medical doctor for that. But good luck with that. So the basic premise of what I do, I use energy testing, muscle testing. It's called applied kinesiology, to see how well things are going on in your body. Your body has the ability to communicate with you and with me and everybody else who you want to know what's going on. And you can ask the body, where you have weaknesses, disturbances in the force. You can ask the body what strengthens those weak reflexes, what particular nutrients your body is actually craving, and which particular foods and other things your body's rejecting. Many people bring in supplements all the time. They bought it at the store. Some of them are good or some of them bad. How do you really know? We can ask your body. Your body will tell you. So again, we don't treat, cure, prevent anything, but I'm going to aid and assist you in improving your nutritional status. And through energy testing, we can discover what's weak. You can find what makes it strong, and hopefully your body responds in kind. We need nutrients for our body to function. We don't need drugs. Your body is never drug deficient. Your liver is supposed to do 500 different functions. If you don't have all the chemical reactants your liver needs to make all those chemical reactions it's supposed to do, you're going to have some level of dysfunction. So when you come to see me, we're going to test all these things. Okay. So what causes your health challenges? These things are never looked into. When you go to a medical doctor, they never look into this. They only look at treating your symptoms with a drug. And if you think that big agriculture, big healthcare, big food, and big pharma are there to help you, you're wrong. They're only there to profit from you. They really don't have your best interest at heart. Okay, so my talk today, of course, is on energy talk. It's using your body's energy to communicate. And we're going to talk about allergy reversals also. So energy, everything has its own frequency vibration. Everything's made up of molecules, and all molecules have this nucleus, and it has a proton, or these electrons that spin around that nucleus, and it generates this electromagnetic field, and it generates these frequencies of vibration. And everybody knows about a magnet. If you put a bunch of iron shavings on a table, drop a magnet in, basically you see how the electromagnetic field surrounds those things. You put the north pole and the south pole of a magnet together, they combine together. You reverse it and they repel each other. You can feel that magnetic field. There's something there. So does every molecule. Every molecule does this. Even the earth has its own electromagnetic field. There's another representation of the electromagnetic field of the earth, and yet another one still. Everything is surrounded by this field, and you can use this to ask your body what's going on. All the planets have their own electromagnetic field. And when they all end up in a line, it affects us energetically. When different planets come in closer to the earth, the electromagnetic field of that planet affects us. Everything around us affects us. People around us affect us because people emit their own field. The field of the earth protects us from harmful things to the sun. So everything, I want you to get the picture that everything is surrounded by energy. And you can ask your body with this source, what's going on? Now, your heart is like the biggest energy field of your body. It emits this electromagnetic radiation. And, and how do you measure an electromagnetic field of the heart? Well, there's several things to do it. You could get a magnetocardiography, but there's ways to do this. This isn't something that I just drew up last night and said, oh yeah, this is how it works. They've studied this. They can measure this. They can measure the electromagnetic field of your heart. So the heart's the most powerful source of electromagnetic energy in the body, producing the largest rhythmic electromagnetic field of any of the body's organs. But did you know that in the womb, the first organ to form is the heart? And before anything else is formed, the heart's formed. Even before that brain and everything. The heart is the key to our soul and the key to life. So the heart's electromagnetic field is 60 times greater than the activity produced by your brain. The heart is where to go first. So the magnetic field produced by the heart is more than 5,000 times greater than the strength of the field generated by the brain. And every other organ of your body also emits this electromagnetic field. Everything has its own frequency of vibration. You can touch different reflexes on the body and test the muscle strength. You touch the heart reflex, strong. Touch the liver reflex, strong. Touch the large intestine reflex, weak. So you can ask the body what's strong, what's weak. And then when you find what's weak, you can ask the body which particular nutrients strengthen those weak reflexes. So we've basically talked about this already. So when two fields of people, their hearts basically interact, sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. It's the way the heart vibrates. So we basically, the negative emotions can create nervous system chaos, but positive emotions do the opposite. Where does that come from? It's an energy. Folks, you have to realize there's more to life than just eating food. Food could support your life, but is your food complete every day? This is the thing. Are you missing certain things from your food? The vibration, the energy of that food. Are you getting enough of that in your daily life? Is the food you're eating too poor in vibration? Is the broad spectrum of everything way too poor in vibration? We're going to talk about that more in a moment. Every part of your body, again, I'm stressing this, emits an energy field. And when you come to see me, basically, we're going to access different points on your body and to see how well you respond to things. Again, here's another graphical representation of the energy fields of our body. We're not alone in this world, and we're interacting with everybody and everything. And you can find you can find out the way things react with you with a simple kinesiology test. So the human aura, again, we emit this electromagnetic field. Okay, so they have this thing called Kirlian photography. If you take a cooked tomato and they have this curling photography of it, you can see the energy field coming off of it. But a raw tomato emits more energy. So the point is, we're energetic beings. The more energy we put into us, the better off we are. The higher rate of frequency of vibration, the things that we put in our body, the better off we are. The more things we put in our body that lowers our frequency of vibration can lead to trouble. If you look over here, of a slice of meat versus an apple. When meat is cooked, it really, really has a low frequency of vibration. But a raw live apple, you can see the energy field coming off of this. We go down here. So this is very interesting. The frequency of a healthy human body is usually anywhere between 62 and 78 hertz. Hertz means cycles per second, how well much you vibrate. The food we eat, the thoughts we drink, the thoughts we think, the environment in which we live, and many other factors have an impact on our total body's vibration. You've all gone to a place where you feel like something was right, something was off, something was wrong, and you knew you should get out of there. And if you follow your intuition, that intuition is what you're absorbing from the environment around you, and your body will tell you, you really should get out of here if you feel that way. Okay. So no one can claim feeling energized and refreshed after a night of processed food and alcoholic drinks. Go eat pizza, have some alcoholic beverages. Do you feel fantastic and vibrant and ready to roll? Or is your frequency down? it's down. You want to avoid the downers in life. Some people are downers, right? So after if you've had a heated argument with somebody, your boss is screaming at you for something, does that uplift you? That is a frequency of vibration. It is something that it's a field your body doesn't like. So disease, this is interesting. Disease manifests in the human body when the vibrational frequency drops below 58 hertz. Now you're supposed to be like 62 to 78. What if you drop below 58? Trouble basically arises. Human colds and flus start in that range, 57 to 60 hertz, when your body's vibrating in that rate. We are much more receptive to cancer. Cancer develops more when you're at 42 hertz and below, and death really starts to begin at 25 hertz. Well, there's things called med beds. Med beds were designed by Tachyon Aerospace, and they've been designed around the parameters of accelerated precision treatment in healing. The minor colds and flus and viruses might seem as an everyday occurrence and part of our daily life experience in the environment we live in, but in a certain environment and in space, these minor conditions can prove to be detrimental to an individual's health, even life-threatening if not treated. Basically, the astronaut could just die if treatment wasn't available and the condition worsens. Basically, his vibration was lower and lower and lower. You can pass. These beds bring your vibration up. Very interesting. The med bed was designed to treat symptoms at a frequency level with very calculated practice frequencies. Every cell has its own frequency. Good cells will resonate at one frequency, as well as bad cells will vibrate at another frequency. The MedBed works by detecting the difference in these frequencies and then focusing several high-powered frequencies into the bad cells, causing the bad cells to implode. The out-of-phase frequencies have been calculated to only affect the frequencies of bad cells and have no effect on the healthy cells. The result is exterminating the existence of any formations of unwanted or bad cells. I'll put this in there to show you, like, all the stuff we've been talking about. Frequencies of vibration, how our own body's resonance, natural resonance. You want to do things that bring up your resonance, bring up your frequency. You want to stay away from things that bring you down. They actually have machines that actually can pretty rapidly help you heal yourself. So here are some frequencies of certain foods. Now, fresh produce has up to 15 hertz of frequency. Dry herbs, 12 to 22 hertz. Fresh herbs, 20 to 27 hertz. But this is interesting. Essential oils start at 52 hertz and can go as high as 320 hertz. Now, when I went through training with Dr. Freddie Ulan on nutrition response technique, he was talking about using different essential oils on the body. Dr. Jerry Tendon I listened to talks about using different essential oils on the body. When I test people's scars, if you have a scar, like a C-section scar, what do they say? Like 1.2 million people a year get a C-section. And they don't realize, if you look at an acupuncture energy meridian chart of the body, when they cut across your lower abdomen, they're cutting through the circulation insect's energy meridian of your body, the kidney meridians, the stomach meridians, the liver meridians, and the spleen. And Freddie Ulan, he taught me that if you find the right essential oil, you can test the scar to see how well your energy flows through there. And if it's weak, you can test to see which particular essential oils strengthen those weak reflexes. In my office, the 4 things that seem to react the best on people is frankincense, and then lemon essential oil, and then lemongrass, and then myrrh. And then we can find out which does your body want: frankincense and lemon, frankincense and lemongrass, myrrh and lemon, different combinations. Your body will tell you it's not the same for everybody, but frankincense seems to be one of the best. And it's just interesting that this is the first time I've seen it. The actual frequency of vibration of essential oils is really high, even compared to foods. If you have a shoulder surgery, any surgery, whenever they cut your fascia, now your fascia is the wiring of your body. If I tap myself here, my body's sending an electrical impulse from here to my brain through the fascia. And if I had a surgical scar across here, that impulse can be limited. On the side of our arm over here is the energy meridian for the heart. If I had a scar across there from a surgery, I can impede the energy flow to my heart. So one of the things you can do is find which particular essential oil your body wants to put on that scar. So, how to alter your vibrational frequency. So the good thing about energetic vibrations is that it can always be altered, it can always be changed. Even if you felt that you resonate more with signs of lower vibrational frequency, you don't have to remain stuck there. You can change your diet, you can change your lifestyle. This is what I do when people come and see me. There's never a magic pill that fixes anything. It's our lifestyle that gets us into the good times. It's our lifestyle that gets us into the bad times. Are you not getting enough rest? Are you not getting enough water? Are you not detoxifying your body enough? Are you not getting enough nutrients in your system? All this has an effect on our frequency vibration. So when people come to see me, we test all these things. We talk about diet, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about little tweaks and changes you can make on a daily basis that may put more frequency into your body. So these things can be diet, exercise, positive thoughts. All that has an effect on your overall well-being. Meditation, practice love and kindness. What a concept that we should practice love and kindness. It's where bliss comes from. The more you love, the more kind you are to people, the more you get back. Spend time in nature. Now, outside, whenever wind blows past trees, it creates negative ions in the air, and those negative ions are good for us. Things that generate positive ions lower our frequency. Like if you stand beside a clothes dryer and it's spinning, it's generating positive ions, and that's not good for us. You stand in front of a television screen, it's generating positive ions, and that's not good for us. When you go outside in nature, if you're walking the beach, a lot of people feel good when they walk on the beach. Why is that? Because that crashing water creates all these negative ions, and that frequency enhances us. So high frequency food pyramid. You see, as you get down towards the bottom, the things that basically are dead flesh, hamburgers, Dr. Weiner always said, don't eat dead animals. He was right in the sense that now there's nutrients in animals that are good, and the more rare that you eat certain meats, the better it is for you. But hot dogs, hamburgers, burritos, all these things, they have a very low frequency vibration, actually lower us. Things at the top of the pyramid: wheatgrass, phytoplankton, chlorophyll, eating green food, excellent for us, essential oils, and so on. What else lowers your frequency vibration? Television. Television is programs. Programs are designed to program your mind. The negative thoughts they put in your head watching these things. They did studies in the 50s where they found that when they put advertising on TV, if it was happy, wholesome, like the television programs they put on TV, if they left you feeling good and happy and wholesome, you didn't have a strong need to consume. So when they put demonic stuff on TV and death and murder and horrible things, it leaves you feeling empty. It lowers your frequency of vibration. So you have a stronger need to consume. And who makes the most money selling things? The big giant national corporations. So what do they put on TV? A bunch of negative stuff to leave you feeling empty, to lower your frequency of vibration, which also increases rates of disease and illness and sickness. So you have to be very careful what you are watching, what your children are watching, because this has an overall effect on our body. Watching things like Home Shopping Network, not the Home Shop, Homes and Gardens television show, with the rehab shows where people find a dilapidated part, it's all beat up and torn down, and then they renovate it, and it's happy and joyous. It leaves you feeling good. These are shows that it's no wonder why they do so well on television. Let me tell you some success stories. So when people come to see me and I use this energy testing method with people, it can have life-changing effects on people. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. I didn't treat, cure, prevent any of these people. Let me tell you about Mary. Mary's 91 years old when she came to see me. She was in a wheelchair. She's all slumped down in a wheelchair, very dark circles under her eyes. You can see through her skin. She didn't have any color in her skin. You can see all the veins in her hand. She had a hearing aid. She couldn't read for the previous 8 years, even with the help of a magnifying glass. She could still see, but not very well. She had to walk with a walker, but barely could walk even with a walker. But for 35 years, she had chronic diarrhea and irritable bowel syndrome. Saw the best gastroenterologists. They tried different drugs and all these things over the years to no avail. This went on and on and on. So what do you do with something like that? They can see the medical industry just throwing up their hands. I did the same thing with her that I do with everybody else. I test reflexes on the body, found she was weak in all these different spots of her body. We found which particular nutrients strengthened her weak reflexes. She tested very strongly for antifungal remedies. We found the one her body liked the best. Antifungal probiotic, we found the one her body liked the best. Digestive enzyme, found the one her body liked the best. Probiotic, found the one her body likes the best. Multivitamin, multimineral, essential fatty acid. Then we tested foods. And we found there was a number of foods that she was eating. Now, she had a very limited diet. Certain foods they knew ran right through her, so they didn't eat those. But a lot of things that she was eating, she tested poorly on. So she lived with her daughter. Her daughter basically eliminated that from her diet. But the two of the things she was good on were eggs and cream and dairy. So she decided to eat a lot of eggs and cream and dairy for brain cells, for covering cholesterol for the brain, and nutrients for the myelin sheath and nerves. 4 weeks time, didn't have diarrhea anymore. 6 weeks into it, she had perfectly formed stools. 8 weeks, she was reading again with a magnifying glass. 10 weeks, she was walking at home without her cane. 17 weeks into it, did I mention, she also had dementia. She couldn't communicate with you. She would blurt out 2 or 3 word phrases and really couldn't have a conversation with you. 17 weeks into the program, again, this wasn't the magic pill to fix it. It took that one pill to fix it all. It was this lifestyle change. 17 weeks into it, she had a 3-hour conversation with her daughter and her son. Totally got her mind back. She's walking to church, talking to her lady friends again, and they're looking at her like, Mary, like, well, what did you do? And very happy. She lived another 1.5 years or so before she passed quietly in her sleep. So that was Mary. Lori was in a horrible car crash for 20 years, had irritable bowel syndrome. Same deal. I did my testing with her. She also tested very strongly for an antifungal remedy, tested strongly for different multivitamins, multiminerals, essential fatty acids. I tested her on foods. Her body said didn't like these particular group of foods. She stopped eating those. She made the lifestyle change. 4 weeks later, she came back for a follow-up visit and told me she doesn't have irritable bowel anymore. Thelma, 77-year-old woman. I did my testing with her, same type of deal, found out what vitamins, minerals, told her what foods, found out what foods to stay away from. Came back 4 weeks later and she tells me I'm a miracle worker. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm not, if you know me, I'm actually kind of a shy person. And she said, I'm not constipated anymore. Like, that is fantastic. How long have you been constipated? She goes, I'm 77 now. I've been constipated since I was 17. And I looked at her like, 60 years. 4 weeks, 4 weeks after seeing her, wasn't constipated anymore. And I've seen her several times in the past 1.5 years, isn't constipated anymore. Kay. So this lady, 20 years, had this rash over her back. There's just pimples, open sores, and things like on her back for like 20 years. And had some intestinal issues as well. 4 weeks later, on the right parasite formula that her body said it had the strongest attraction to, her back was clearing up for the first time ever. And then Jay. So who was Jay? Oh, so Jay, this lady, her whole life, since she was 40, I think she's in her late 30s, her whole life, she's been constipated. Even she says as a young child, having terrible issues with it, intestinal pain, felt bloated all the time. 4 weeks later, told me she didn't have constipation anymore. So this is what can be done. Basically, if we can find out what you need in a lifestyle change where you supplement a little bit differently, eat different foods, you put nutrients into the body that the body's craving, all of a sudden the body starts to regenerate itself the way it is intended. Your body's always trying to fix itself. And usually we're lacking the nutrients to adequately do that. So if you don't make that lifestyle change, there's no one little magic pill that's going to fix everything. But you start changing up several things, it can really work. So come spend an hour with me and let's test. We'll do all the testing. Okay, so let's talk about allergy reversals. Now, all that prelude is to get you to realize we're energetic beings. Totally energetic beings. Everything around us has an energy. Everything around us is made of molecules. All molecules have this electron cloud around it. Everything's vibrating. Everything's generating electromagnetic fields. So earlier in the early show, we talked about a little girl. Let's say there's a little 1-year-old girl and she gets bit by a cat. She's not going to remember being bit by the cat. But her response to cats now is this program's running in her mind. She's around cats, her eyes water, her nose run because she's crying. So it isn't something internally the body says like I have a strong allergy to it. It's an energetic response to cats. So now she's 20 years old, 30, 50 years old, still eyes water, nose runs when she's around cats because this program is running. That switch when she was 1-year-old was flipped. Cats didn't bother before the cat bit her. Now cats bother her in that way. So in my office, I have a jar full of cat furs, probably 25 different, cat furs in my jar. And I'll basically, test your body's response to it, super weak ahead of time. You stimulate acupressure points that run up and down the spine while you breathe 4 different ways while you're holding this jar of cat fur. You're not directly exposed to cat fur. It's in a glass jar. The electromagnetic field, the energy field coming off of it, your body's sensing. And stimulating energy points on your body while you're holding this energy somehow gets your body to accept that energy versus rejecting it. And this has been profoundly successful. So, how did all this start? My first exposure to this was Dr. Roy Carey. Dr. Roy Carey was up in Greenville, PA. And for 30 years, he did allergy shots. And he learned this method. One of my clients was referred to him and said she had tremendous results from this. So I went with her and watched him do this, and I was astounded because initially when he tested her on different things, she had a very weak, very poor response. He did this allergy reversal treatment method, stimulating acupressure points on the body while she held in a jar all sorts of different things. Grasses one time, milk, dairy another time, wheat another time. And her body initially had a super weak response, and afterwards, super strong response. And when she was exposed to these things or ate these things, it didn't bother her anymore. And this was a medical doctor that did allergy shots for 30 years, was now using this method. And then I heard Dr. Weiner was doing this. I went and saw Dr. Weiner, and he did allergy reversal treatments on me, and it worked. I had a really, really bad time with dairy years ago. If I had any dairy, it instantly clogged my sinuses, irritated my intestines. He did allergy reversal treatment on dairy for me, and it worked. And in the mid 90s, I learned this method, and I've been doing this ever since. Now, this lady, Dr. Debbie Nambujapad, she's the one that taught Dr. Weiner and Dr. Carey this method. So she's a chiropractor, a licensed acupuncturist. She has her PhD in physics and a registered nurse. Incredibly brilliant person. But she'd eat something and would pass out. Or she'd eat something and go into anaphylactic shock. Or eat something and be so fatigued she couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. And through muscle testing, energy testing, she knew what foods were good for her, what foods she had to stay away from. And one day she ate these carrots, and carrots were on her good list, but they must have came from a different supplier, must have had something sprayed on it. She ate these carrots and was passing out. So she had her staff run into the other room, get her acupuncture needles, put acupuncture needles in the adrenal meridian on the body to give her a natural boost of adrenaline, but they didn't get it in time. She passed out. But when she came to, she was mortified because the bag of carrots that they had tested her on that she failed on was on her chest. But when she got up, she felt, I feel good. I feel like I got energy. I feel balanced. So they tested her on those carrots again, and she was strong in response to those carrots. And she's like, okay, stimulating acupuncture points on the body while you hold the thing you're allergic to, her body reset. And over a course of a year, her son was just like her, allergic to everything, very poor response to everything. Could only eat a limited amount of foods because other things really, really bothered her. Over the course of a year, she eliminated all of her and all of her son's allergies, initially with acupuncture, while they hold a jar full of cat fur, or hold a jar full of grass, or hold a jar full of wheat, or a jar full of milk, or whatever. Over the course of a year, eliminated all of her and her son's allergies, initially using acupuncture, and they found later you didn't have to use acupuncture. You can stimulate points on the body with acupressure and the body reset. And she's been teaching that since 1984 to doctors all across the United States. And Dr. Carey and Dr. Weiner were two of the people that learned this stuff. And I learned it from them. And Dr. Ellen Cutler had a training program. And Dr. Ellen Cutler took Dr. Debbie's treatments and added a breathing technique to it, where you breathe 4 different ways while you're holding the jar. If Dr. Weiner treated you for cats per se, the ideal scenario is that you wash a set of clothes, take them out of the dryer and put them in a bag, bring them to the office, change your clothes in the office, put your old clothes that could be contaminated with cat fur into that bag. He did the allergy reversal treatment on cats, and then you couldn't go home because you couldn't be around cats for 25 hours after the treatment. Dr. Ellen Cutler found that when you add this breathing technique to it, you can be exposed to cats right away. It doesn't negate any of the process that they just did to help reverse your allergies. And this is what I've been doing since, I think, 1996, somewhere in that time frame. It's been quite a while, maybe 25 years, been doing allergy reversals. And I've helped people. I have 3,200 testing kits in my office, 3,200 testing vials. And I've helped people with negative responses to grasses, trees, molds, shrubbery, all sorts of things. If you look on this chart here, these are acupuncture, acupressure, energy meridian lines, and you can stimulate different spots on these lines. You can test different spots on these lines and see how well your energy flows in your body. Another example of acupuncture meridian points. Okay, let me tell you a story. This little boy, look at this poor guy's face, all swollen. He was out playing in the grass, I think it was May 1st of 2019. First time that season, he went outside to play in this park. And he reacted to the grass that was there. Came up to his mother looking like this. And she was terrified at first. Took him to the hospital, had him checked out. It was allergies. Brought him. She was friends with a lady who used to work at our front desk. So she knew about us. And she brought him in to me. I did my testing with him. We found out what foods he should stay away from, what nutrients he needs to get his body functioning better, more daily complete nutrition. And then we tested my plants and pollens of the Northeast testing kit. There's 75 vials in there of trees, grasses, weeds, shrubs, all sorts of stuff. He failed on 13 of the 19 grasses in that kit. So we did an allergy reversal treatment on him for the grass. 10 days later, he went back to the same park, and there he is doing a handstand with his head in the pile of grass, had no reaction to it. So this is what's possible. It's just, grass is just an energy, and something in his body, somewhere along the way, his body was rejecting the energy of grass. You put a bunch of grass in a jar, or in my office, like 13 different vials charged with the energies of grasses. Did this stimulation of points in the body, and here he is playing in a park with no reaction. So this is what's possible. This is why Dr. Carey started doing this versus all those allergy shots he's been doing for decades. Black Lab story. So Black Lab, this husband and wife came in to see me, and I helped the wife out a lot. She says, "What can you do for my husband? He sneezes all the time." I'm like, "Really?" I said, "Does he sneeze at work?" She goes, "No, he sneezes at home." And he says, "Yeah." And he says, within 5 minutes of being home, his eyes are watering, his nose is running, and sneezing. I says, "Do you have any dogs or cats at home?" He says, "We have a dog." I said, "Well, how long has this been going on?" He says, "Probably about 1.5 years." I said, "How long have you had the dog?" "Probably about 1.5 years." "Well, Mr. Wizard, maybe you're allergic to the dog." So I had him brush his dog and bring in some dog fur. So a couple of days later, he comes back with literally a spaghetti sauce jar filled with dog fur, black Labrador retriever fur. I tested him on that, super weak. I did this allergy reversal treatment on him, super strong afterwards. About 2 weeks later, his wife came in and she goes, "I got to tell you about Rich." I'm like, "What's up with Rich?" So like the way she said that, like, was he in an accident? What's going on? So I did so many allergy reversals and things with people that I didn't remember. I did a reversal on him for the Black Lab. She goes, "You remember I treated him for the Black Lab?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "He hasn't sneezed or sniffled since." And what she confided in me was that she was pregnant with her first child, and he was constantly sneezing, but sniffling snot back up his nose. It was driving her insane. She was ready to choke him out. And he hasn't sneezed or sniffled since. Okay, mom and her 2 kids with asthma. So mom came in. I did some allergy reversals with her. It worked really well. Her kids had asthma, brought her kids in. After the third allergy reversal treatment on kids for whatever it was, butter was one of them. One girl like ate butter off the stick, and she was allergic to butter, or had a negative response to butter. So after the third allergy reversal, when her mom came in the next few visits, she goes, you know what? Her kids aren't asthmatic anymore. I'm like, that's awesome. But her husband, the grumpy father, when he's at work, he's fine. When he comes home, he's sneezing like every 5 minutes. His eyes are watering and nose are running, and he knew he's allergic to the cat. And she was beating his ear for about a month. Get in to see Jeff. Get in to see Jeff. And he's like, it's a bunch of nonsense, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm like, her kids don't have asthma anymore, and her symptoms were better. So finally, after a month of twisting his ear, he finally came in with a jar full of cat fur. So I did my testing with him. When you test somebody, initially you got to make sure their energy is flowing properly. The palm of your hand has a positive charge. The back of your hand has a negative charge. There's a polarity in our body, and there's 7 major energy centers in your body. In yoga, they call this your crown energy center. When you touch the negative side of your hand to that, you test a muscle, it's supposed to be super weak. You're supposed to be super strong this way, super weak this way. So I did the polarity test with him, strong this way, super weak this way. And he goes, you're just pressing harder. All right, fight me really hard. He's like, fight me really hard. He goes super weak. He's like, he's grumbling. So I said, well, let's do this reversal and see if it works. So reluctantly, he did this. So I did the reversal on him on the cat that he brought in. And a week or so later, the wife came back in and said, hey, that treatment you did on our husband for the cats, she said he was constantly running through boxes of Kleenexes because he was sneezing all the time. Did the reversal on him on cats. He said he was home for 2 hours, and it finally dawned on him, I haven't sneezed once. He's like, it can't be. And she said he grabbed the cat and stuck his face in the cat, and he didn't have any negative response to the cat anymore. So I could go on and on with story after story after story. I would treated a lady for her parakeet, her dog, and then poison ivy. Treated another guy for poison ivy, and both of them told me they don't react negatively to it anymore. I would not suggest going rolling in poison ivy, but that's what Carol did. She grabbed some poison ivy. She would glove on one hand, rubber glove, and she grabbed poison ivy and crumbled it up and rubbed that oily poison ivy on the other arm, and then put a sock over that. And for a day and a half, didn't wash her arm, and she had no reaction to it. I said, Carol, I said, that's either bold or that's crazy, and I'm not sure which one it is, but I'm glad it worked for you. And another time, a client came in that I did an allergy reversal treatment on him. A tree had fallen into his garage, and the tree was covered with poison ivy, but he had needed to get the tree out of there. So he was sawing it up and pulling the chunks and so forth out of there. I know he knows he was exposed to the poison ivy. He goes, you know what? It never bothered me. I'm like, that is fantastic. Okay, folks, my contact info. If you want to come spend an hour with me, this is what I do. I don't have, this isn't like a 10-minute visit. This is an hour visit. We can look into energy reflexes on the body. We can find out what's weak. We can find out what strengthens those weak reflexes, which particular nutrients your body wants. Bring in the supplements that you have. Bring them in with you. We can test on all that stuff. Test the teeth. Your teeth are wired to your body electrically. If you have root canals, crowns, mercury fillings, there's a good chance you're blocking energy voltage and flow to your different parts of your body, limiting the function of those organs. We test all that. We'll test foods. On the first visit, I see people, they usually fell on 40, 50, 60, 70 foods. The first visit, usually 6 to 12 reflexes are weak on their body. 4 weeks later, they usually have no weak reflexes. They have no negative response to foods other than like 8 or 9 bad things that everybody falls on. The body has the ability to fix itself. You got to put the right nutrients in, the right energy in, the right frequency in, the right voltage in. Stay away from things that lower your frequency. Come spend an hour with me. Call 412-922-9355. Set an appointment, and let's go through all this. And with that, that's the end of the presentation today, folks. I'm glad you joined me.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Tell them no applause, just throw money.
Yeah, no applause, just throw money, right?
Well, I hope people come in to see you. I mean, I've seen you do great results. So thanks so much for always sharing your knowledge and your expertise. We love having you at the center.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tracy. Appreciate everything, folks. Great seeing you. Take care.
All right, guys, stay tuned because Len Bransowitz is up next. He is going to be talking to us about pH and acidity and the antimicrobial resistance that it creates. So he is here at 10 o'clock, and stay tuned for that. In the meantime, go check out the Weiner Wellness Center if you can go in person. If not, check out the website. A lot of great products and deep discounts. See you soon.